to Teeth and Water. I'm Matitz. We are covering crocodilian attacks like caimans, alligators, salties from 1950 till present, and we will start right away with our first attack in Tamarindo, which is in Costa Rica, South America. The date is 22nd of July 2016. Jon Becker is 59 years old, male. He's a surfer. He's been surfing for 14 years on that exact spot. And on that day, early morning, he went surfing with the local instructor and his friend, Edgar Sanchez. They were surfing from 5 to 7 a.m. and they had enough. They went back to Tamarindo, but they need to cross this river's mouth, which is 4-minute paddle. And the first third of the paddle was everything fine. Edgar was in front of the Jon, but Jon suddenly got bit by the right ankle and pulled under the water. And the spot where this happened, the depth of the water was 8 feet. So Jon couldn't really stand up. And Edgar at this point didn't know what really happened with Jon. He was paddling and just heard some splashing. And in a few seconds, the crocodile bit him first on the leg and then clamped both of his arms and then clamped his head. And Jon said that was his Hulk moment. He squeezed his hand into his jaw and kind of opened it and saved himself. Edgar was confused, of course, at shock, and pushed his board back to Jon. Jon was bleeding from everywhere, and Edgar helped Jon back to the beach, where Edgar just straight ran to call the ambulance, and Jon collapsed and lay there. A few people came and helped. A lifeguard, Diane, a woman, helped him, made a tourniquet from her rash guard. And Jon waited for about an hour. He said that he remembered looking up and saw his leg really badly mangled. He got to hospital. They needed to amputate his leg. He survived, but the wounds on the hand and broken nose, and he got a prosthetic for the leg. A few years later, he got back to surfing and was really happy, and of course his 3 sons were really happy that he's alive. That was non-fatal, but that was not a predatory. I would say that was a territorial nature attack by a 7-foot saltwater crocodile. And that's it for Jon Becker. We will move on. And for our second attack, we go to Casuarina Coastal Reserve, which is near Darwin, Northern Territory, Australia. The date of the attack is May 16, Saturday, 2015, morning, 11:30. Chris Kipping is Kitesurfer, 29 years old. He's surfing now for 2 hours. The winds were great, but suddenly the winds just drop off and he found himself 100 meters from shore. The depth of the water was about 4 meters, and he looked around. He sees nobody. He felt a little bit uneasy because he knew the dangers of that part of the waters. And suddenly he got rammed by a 2.5 meter crocodile, saltwater crocodile, and rammed him like a Mack truck, latched onto his arm and armpit, pinned his arm and chest together. He was stunned. Chris said he was shocked and the crocodile didn't pull him under. Chris used his board and kite to prevent this, and crocodile held him there for 2 minutes. And then Chris made a move and poked his eye, rammed his finger into eye socket. The crocodile retreated, but did a 180 and came back around and strike him again 5 more times. Chris did a good job putting board between the crocodile and him and swimming backwards towards the shore. But that crocodile was so aggressive. He said that he was, of course, scared and he didn't know what to do, but at that moment battling this crocodile. I would say he'd done a great job. He suffered some puncture wounds, and lacerations, but it was a non-fatal predatory nature attack by a 2.5-meter saltwater crocodile. And that's the story of Chris Keeping. We will move on. So for our third and final attack, we go to Lukuga River, which is in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Central Africa. The date of the attack is 7th of December 2010, early morning. Hendri Coetzee is 35 years old, male. He's a South African outdoorsman and an expedition leader, and he's leading these two Americans, Ben Stokesbury and Chris Korbulik, on an expedition. They were exploring these white waters and developing projects. When they entered the stretch of the river that is wide and calm, they were in kayaks about 6 to 8 feet long. They were paddling their kayaks and they were apart about 1.5 meters when Hendri was taken by a saltwater crocodile. The Americans saw just the splash of the water and the kayak was there, his red kayak, and he got attacked by his left side, pulled underwater by a 4.5-meter saltwater crocodile. They say it was for sure a large, nearly 2-ton of crocodile, massive one, that took Hendri, and it was a fatal predator nature attack. They didn't find Hendri, they didn't see him ever again, and they just found his red kayak, and that's the story on him. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like, and we catch you on the next one.